Hello and welcome to another short rides video, and it's been a long time since I last uploaded a video to this channel. In fact, it's 2 years almost to the day. We're now in January 2025 and the last video I did was in January 2023, and in that video I'd just taken delivery of a limited edition Yamaha R3 and I was on my first ride out on it after taking delivery. And the reason it's been so long in terms of uploading videos since then is a lot's been going on. I've moved house, I've had to redecorate, refurbish the house, I've changed jobs, taught my daughter to drive. There's all kinds of things that have been going on. Also, during that time, I actually sold the Yamaha R3, so that's gone. I sold my BMW GS 310. That's gone, and I also sold my Westfield Widebody 1.6 as well. So that basically means I'm stood here in a completely empty garage. However, the nice thing about an empty garage is you've got space to fill it back up again, and that will be coming in some future videos. But what I thought I would do is just do a quick summary of my ownership of the Yamaha R3, because I did have that bike for almost 2 years, had it about 20 months, something like that. And I did even do a road trip on it, which was a 4.5 hour each way trip. So a 9-hour round trip with touring in between. So I did actually clock up some miles on that bike. So I thought I would give you a quick summary of the positives and negatives that I found in my ownership of the Yamaha R3. So we'll start off with the negatives. And the first one for me, the most prominent, was lack of comfort. Now, for someone my age, admittedly, sports bikes are not ideal. But the Yamaha R3 in particular is a small bike. It is a sports bike, and you're very crunched up in terms of the riding position on the bike. And I found that knee pain, shoulder pain, wrist pain kicked in very, very early on when I was riding that bike. So it's not a comfortable bike to ride. Well, for me anyway. Other people might find it not so bad, but for me, I really struggled with the comfort. The next negative for me was the high-end acceleration. So in other words, it had no problem getting up to 70 miles an hour. It was absolutely fine with that, which is great given it's a small engine bike. But once you were at 70, if you needed to get past a lorry or something like that and you were on a motorway, the acceleration from 70 to 90, you really needed to plan ahead. It will do it, but you really need to think ahead. It doesn't do it as quickly as obviously bigger engined bikes. The next negative for me, and this is quite surprising, was for me anyway, is service costs. So I have a local independent motorcycle dealer who has always serviced the bikes that I've had without any problem. But he couldn't service the R3. Apparently there were issues around having the right tools or the right electronic equipment. I don't know the details of it, but he couldn't service it. So I had to go to a Yamaha main dealer. And for me, that's a bit of a problem because the nearest Yamaha main dealer is about 3/4 of an hour away. And not only that, their prices were considerably more than the kind of price I was paying from an independent dealer. The other one is the dashboard. So the dash on the R3 is a monochrome dash and it's quite dark. So if you're riding in low light, and overcast, low light conditions, it can be quite hard to read the dash. It's usually best to have the lights on and that lights the back of the dashboard up. But there were times when I did find the dash a little bit hard to read in overcast days. And then finally for me, a little bit unfair, but luggage. So what I found was I did have two sports panniers that I did put on the bike when I went on the road trip. And I found that having those panniers on the bike did sort of make it difficult to ride. It was sort of, it destabilized it because it was a light bike. clearly there was some effect from wind resistance on those panniers that was causing the bike to feel a bit wobbly. But again, a little unfair because it is a sports bike and it isn't meant to have panniers on it. So that's the negatives. Let's have a look at the positives, and the positives in a nutshell do outweigh the negatives. So the first positive with the R3 is efficiency, and what I mean by that is it's a very cost-effective bike to run. So the bike comes under the A2 license category here in the UK, which means it's cheap to insure, it's cheap to tax because it's very efficient. It's a sub 400cc engine, and if I remember correctly, I was typically getting over 60 to the gallon most of the time on that bike, even up to 70 if I rode it sensibly. The other one, which was a key one for me, was it's lightweight and it's easy to maneuver. And that's the whole reason why I went for that bike in the first place. The problem is with a lot of bikes now is they're getting bigger and they're getting heavier with more technology on them, particularly hybrid and electric bikes. I mean, they are so heavy now, and that's another video for another time. But this Yamaha R3, very lightweight, low seat height, very easy to maneuver in car parks. You can get your feet down, you can move it round, and if you are unfortunate to drop that bike, I would imagine it would be much easier to pick up than most other bikes that are out there. Given that it's an A2 bike with less than 400cc capacity, it is very fast, that bike. Amply fast enough for British A roads, B roads. It definitely feels a heck of a lot faster than a 300cc motorcycle should feel. And then the sound of the bike was the other one. So it really amazed me how good that bike sounds. It definitely reminded me of my Ducati Supersport. It really sounded a lot bigger in terms of engine than the size of engine it was. And yeah, some people have messaged in after they saw the video that I last uploaded saying that they put Akrapovic exhausts on and things like that, and it sounds even better. And finally, and this is subjective, is the looks. I had the GP limited edition colours, which was the red and white with the gold wheels, and it looked fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I can't say the same applies for the standard colour, which is like the dark blue and black. That colour really doesn't appeal to me, and I don't think it's as good. But if you can get the R3 in the GP limited edition colours, it's a fantastic looking bike. So there you have it. Those were my negatives and positives, in my view, of owning the Yamaha R3. And in a nutshell, I would recommend that bike to anyone who is a new rider who's got the A2 license, or someone who is, you know, lacking confidence but wants to ride a motorcycle. It's a good bike. And the reason being, most importantly for me, was you could maneuver it in car parks and tight spaces. Because for me, anyone can ride a motorcycle, you know, on A roads, B roads, things like that. The real test comes when you get to a car park in, say, a cafe, and you need to park the thing in a tight space. And that's when things can get difficult and potentially quite embarrassing. And I didn't have any of that with the R3. It was really easy to park, very easy to stop and start at traffic lights, things like that. And to me, that's what made it a great bike. So hopefully, if you are thinking of owning a Yamaha R3, that's been interesting for you and helpful. And yeah, keep watching, keep subscribing, and I will be planning to upload videos in the near future.